Talking about the five different negotiation methods, concession is one of them. And concession is probably the one I most often recommend never to be used for the simple reason that it's going to be misunderstood. But how do you identify concession both in yourself and with the counterpart? Well, it's very important to recognize it in both cases because if we're sitting with somebody who is concession orientated, you have to take charge of the whole negotiation because they're not capable of it. And if you actually recognize concession behavior in your own negotiation style, then you need to focus on how to change that. Well, first and foremost, how do you recognize concession? There's a lot of one-way communication, basically identical to a combative orientated negotiator. We talk to each other, not with each other. So to give you a very quick example of concession, I might have sent you a proposal that says delivery is 8 weeks, and we're sitting in a meeting and you are looking at me and saying, do you know what, Mr. Jensen, that delivery time you've been offering us is not good enough. We need it 3 weeks faster than what you have proposed. I might be looking through the proposal and then I might look at you and say, but that's okay. I can actually reduce delivery time by what you requested. Now that's concession. I didn't ask you what's the value, why do you want to change that delivery time. I didn't actually go into the idea or the reason. I just gave in whatever you wanted. So that is basically concession. Now, another thing that we often see is when we're using unilateral concession is that we might be seen as a victim, like a martyr, somebody who's just giving in. And obviously, as you know already at this point, very often is being misunderstood. So if I'm giving in too much, the counterpart might be thinking, this is easy. I might be able to get even more than I originally requested. Unilateral concession, as mentioned a couple of times already, is all about giving something away without getting something back, and that is simply illegal in the world of negotiation. We obviously also see no tactical games whatsoever, so there's no use of chapter number 5 in the negotiation manual, because very often we see that negotiators basically want to get out of that negotiation if they're concession orientated. Very often, not always, but very often, negotiator who use concession is afraid of confrontation, so they're basically just giving away everything they can.